is Dante Galeazzi. I'm with the Texas International Produce Association, representing both Texas-grown fresh produce and the produce that comes in from Mexico through this region. So, gentlemen, one very important issue that we've started to see over the last 18 months is water. And unfortunately, we didn't hear anything about it, and it's an issue that impacts all 4 of the counties. Without water, we can't do anything. And Judge Cortez, you said it very well. More than half of the residents in the valley are living in unincorporated cities. And so those are often folks that have no guarantee for water because it has to pass through the irrigation districts. As you know, water shortage is getting more and more drastic. We've seen water shortage letters go out to everybody. Unincorporated cities are the ones that might have their water shut off first, and those citizens would have to drive to the major cities to get their everyday water needs, let alone the impact to agriculture. You have more than 9,000 direct jobs involved with irrigated agriculture. You have another 3 to 4 times the amount of those jobs for companies like trucking, box, seed, chemicals, so tractor sales, finance, all those things. And so we are continuing to see that impact as we have this water shortage as it goes further. And we aren't seeing the region step up and do enough for water infrastructure. So I'd love to hear what we are doing, or what you gentlemen are doing as our leadership to help address that issue, because it is a tremendous concern, not just for agriculture, but for the citizens and the communities that are revolved around agriculture, especially those in unincorporated cities. Thank you, guys.
Well, it is obvious that we have a water problem. The meeting that the 4 county judges had in Weslaco was exactly about that, trying to find alternative sources of water. The solution is not going to be a quick solution, but we're looking at it. I believe we're about to receive a grant of in excess of $700,000 from the Net Bank that will help us study the situation and give us ideas as to what are alternative sources of water. But no, we hear you. We understand perfectly well, but I hope no one here in this room believes that there's a quick solution to the problem that we have, because there isn't.
Would anybody else like to address that question?
I'll just follow up with what Judge Cortez said. We are looking at different options, but it goes back to the exact same problem and solution that you all have asked with regards to the other issues. It's a lack of resources. It's a lack of money. We have all these demands, and many of them are good problems to have, but the lack of water. Our water system was designed back in the 40s and 50s, and it was premised upon the fact that we'd have a hurricane every once in a while, fill up the dams at Amistad and Falcon, and take care of our then agricultural society. Well, the valley has changed by leaps and bounds and is no longer just an agricultural society. So the lack of planning, the lack of water infrastructure, the lack of the absolute resource is coming to catch us. We've got the Gulf of Mexico still there, but the cost of desalination is extremely expensive. When I was mayor of Brownsville, we opened up the Southmost Regional, which is a brackish groundwater desalination. That was one of the options that Judge Cortez and Judge Vera and Judge Guerra and I were talking about. But again, we are working on some ideas, some possible solutions, but it's all a factor of making sure, or finding the monies in order to help us address that need.
Thank you for that, Judge.
One of the things, of course, Starr County is Falcon Lake. I don't know if y'all have driven over there towards Zapata, but you can't see the water from US 83. It's so low, but this is an issue that's above our pay grade. This is a federal government issue. They need to force Mexico to pay us our water. That goes back to the federal government. But we do need to come up with alternatives so that we don't rely on that.
And I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing that. So I think that's commending that you all met recently, and that was a top priority. So thank you for that.
I'm Dina Arevalo. I'm with the Monitor. Getting back to the issue of water, Judge Vera, you said it's a federal issue that the federal government needs to get Mexico to pay us our water. The fact of the matter is Mexico no longer has enough water physically to give us, even if they gave us every last drop. We ended December 2024 with the lowest volumes of water in our reservoirs in the reservoir's history. Next month, farmers have to make decisions about whether or not they're going to plant any crops. And let me see. And in August of 2024, we were so low on water in our reservoirs that Amistad Reservoir almost lost the ability to generate power. As you all, I'm sure, know, both of our dams have power generation facilities. We got to the point where those June rains saved us, but we almost lost power generation. So it's not just a federal issue, it's a local issue. So my question to all four of you gentlemen is, if we're already starting this year off at the lowest point ever, if our reservoirs reach critical levels, what plans are you guys working on? What methods are you putting in place to provide municipal and unincorporated water if we don't have anything in the river?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, let me try to put a little input on this. Being a county commissioner, this is where I have a little bit of an advantage on these gentlemen. When I took office 2 years ago, I inherited a couple of these board seats and chairmanships on the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council, or the COG, and one of them is Region 15, where we actually deal with water-related issues. Region 15 expands all the way to Laredo, and it incorporates all this area. And when I first got here, the main focus was drainage.
Yeah.
Drainage. Too much water, and basically we've been addressing that, okay, and moving forward with the different projects through the Water Development Board, the board with the General Land Office, GLO, and addressing these matters. Okay, well, in the last about year, it's changed. Now we're talking about the lack of water, okay, and changing the resources. So the valley, correct me if I'm wrong, relies on surface water, okay. So there's going to be a change and an influx and funding, is my understanding, for groundwater. That means going down and digging for these wells, but you got to go deep to get good water, is my understanding. So that's one of the differences is change over that. Hidalgo County, they're also trying to recapture some of their water through the use of these detention ponds or retention ponds that they're building. They hit an environmental snag, I believe, and those are some of the things they're doing. Now I'm proud of our little city of Raymondville. They actually have a reverse osmosis plant that they're digging they're getting the water, they're pumping it out of the ground, and they're going to that. So some of these people are doing that. Some of these cities. Now, granted, the counties, as far as I don't know about these other gentlemen, we don't have a mud or anything like that. We don't have a water processing plant, but the cities do. So we're going to try to help them out as best as we can to get the water that they need. And the big source of water that we have in rural Willacy, which is what I enjoy, is the North Alamo water supply, and I think they do a tremendous job. And they're innovative in what they're doing. They might be better versed in trying to answer some of these questions, but it is based on what the cities do. But that's the limited understanding that I have, and we're moving forward as a region. Commissioner David Garza from he's my mentor in this, and he knows a lot about it. I know that the Corps of Engineers is involved. People are involved in trying to get it. They know. We also have an IBWC board, okay, the International Water Boundary Commission, and the commissioner was here regularly. I don't know if she's going to remain in that capacity with the change in administration, but in Willacy County, we do have an individual that's an environmental person that sits on that board, and they keep me informed as to the decisions that they're making. But it's a citizens forum, but basically, so we're trying to keep everybody informed, but they're sounding the whistle or the bells now, because it's not a matter of if, but when, and we're going to be in. We don't want to be in that situation. So those are some of the resources or some of the, processes that we're looking at.
Dina, there's good news and bad news. Okay, the bad news is it's not going to happen quickly. The good news is there are some alternative sources of water that we're looking at into. Not sufficient to take care of both municipal and agricultural, but at least some source of water. There's several parts to the process. One is the availability of the water, the other one is the transportation of the water to the places that we need to get it to, and then so down the line. But believe me, all of us here understand the severity of this situation, and we're looking at it and contacting as many people as we can, to help us solve this problem. Right now, immediate action, I am looking into a conservation or emergency order for us to at least conserve what we have and use it as best as we can to save as much as we can in the meantime. But that's about the immediate thing we can do is just really be good caretakers of what we do have.
The only thing that I'll add to that is the fact that somebody mentioned earlier, the counties aren't in the water business per se. You've got water supply companies, you've got MUDs, you've got irrigation districts, you've got the municipalities. So I hope I speak for everybody here. Our goal is to try to help coordinate those different entities that have those responsibilities in a way that, as Judge Cortez alluded to, we're good stewards of the limited resource that we have that continues to dwindle and dwindle. And again, I wish we had that stack of money that we can say, well, we're going to use this for water, for creation of water, and we're going to use this for drainage. Nobody worries about those problems until it's happened. Nobody cares about flooding until we've had a flood. Nobody worries about the lack of water until they're not able to open their faucet and be able to take a shower or brush their teeth. Those are things that, as elected officials, we have to be planning ahead, and we've been trying to talk about this, but, you know, Mother Nature will come, give us a little bit of a respite. The dams will pick up a little bit, and then people will put their attention elsewhere, and that's the dilemma that we as county leaders face. And sometimes it's, I don't want to say herding cats, but it can be until that emergency is right in front of us again.
Let me just expand on the comment that I said that it's a federal issue. What I was alluding to was it's a federal issue to get Mexico to pay us the water. Now, the problem that we have with lack of water here, that's ours, the valley's problem. And has been mentioned before, we have been talking about alternative ways that we can do. I think one of the ways that we could do is in Stark County, we have several reservoirs, they're detention reservoirs, to keep from flooding the people that live along the river. But some of those reservoirs could be expanded to conserve water that could be used for drinking more than anything, treating and drinking. But like Judge Cortez says, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's just going to take time, and certainly, we'll stay on top of it, and we'll assist the cities and those that have the water treatment plants. We don't have any.